Have you seen Sri Lanka after 2009, after the ending of the 30-year World War, in terms of economy, polity, and security?
Well, first, most important development is the complete normalcy, where even Tamils are now admitting that it's possible. Particularly, women say that their husbands go to morning to work. They are sure that they'll come back in the night, and children go to school. They are sure they won't be recruited as child soldiers by the LTT. And they don't have to pay extortion money. So one is clear is normalcy has been established. Second is much of the infrastructure has been restored. Third is those people who are homeless and were put in camps, they have been all provided with accommodation. And of course the Indian government played a assisting role in that. Now the economy certainly appears to be booming because the growth rate has gone up to 7%. And you have very clear plans now for 2020 and 2035. So I think we have a very promising situation.
Well, although Sri Lanka has defeated the terrorism for the last 30 years, there are certain elements in the international arena and society that disturbs the Sri Lanka's victory over the terrorism, and certain elements are still trying to push Sri Lanka economically, politically back. How do you assess this situation?
They are not very successful. They're just making a lot of noise, and they're mostly abroad and not within Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a democratic country. You can always accommodate some amount of criticism and opposition. But as far as these elements abroad who are being funded and were looked after by the leftover LTT elements and their drug money, I don't think you need to pay any attention to them. Even the UN Human Rights Commission resolution is just a piece of paper, because unless the Security Council's backs it, it has no value. So why should you concern yourself with these attempts to disturb you? It's like so many mosquitoes or flies flying around you. Just swat them.
Would you mean that even the international community means that some of the Western countries, especially US...
Yeah, but what is it they can do? You're a strong government here. They can't go beyond a point. And you have good allies who will also speak up for you. And now you can expect India also to be a strong supporter of yours.
Be that as it may, we have seen even in India, especially in Tamil Nadu, certain politicians are provoking some of the segments against Sri Lanka. How have you seen this, and how would that impact on especially in the regional geopolitics?
Well, first of all, most of them have lost the elections, and very badly. I mean, they have not even been able to save their deposits. Secondly is that the Narendra Modi government doesn't depend on any regional party for support. It's an absolute majority government. And third is that we have made it clear that foreign policy will be decided by national security interests and not by state interests. We certainly would listen to state grievances, but we will not make our policy on that basis. And our policy regarding Sri Lanka would be, is Indo-Sri Lanka friendship good or bad for us? And it's obviously good. It's in our neighborhood, and we have cultural sisters. So therefore, I think you need not worry about these demonstrations. In India, demonstrations are normalcy. If there are no demonstrations, I would be worried.
But we've seen after 2009, the Indian the relationship with Sri Lanka somewhat drifting towards the west, but certainly after about few months back we saw it coming back to normalcy.
There is a definite difference between the previous government of UPA and Dr. Manmohan Singh and the BJP government led by Narendra Modi. We are very clear. We are not pushed around. Yesterday when we found that the Pakistan ambassador was inviting secessionists to the embassy to wine and dine with them, we cancelled the talks that were proposed between the Foreign Secretary of India and which the previous government never did. So there are fundamental differences. We are not drifting to the West. In fact, the West is concerned that we are thinking of becoming an independent pole.
When we saw that this year, the last time the Human Rights Council in Geneva, India took a somewhat very independent and a more neutral stance, unlike last time in the back the US resolution. What would have been into this scenario? What would have
No, but the general, the entire bureaucracy, the think tanks, the specialists, they all felt that we are unnecessarily sacrificing our national interests by supporting this, and tomorrow if the same resolution is used against us in Kashmir and Manipur, what answer would we give? So Mr. Manmohan Singh, of course, was a weak Prime Minister, but he was inclined to this kind of point of view of ours, but he could take it only this far. But as far as we are concerned, we have already made it clear that any UN resolution which calls for an intrusive investigation into human rights, we are not going to support it.
India was a country that actually insisted on the 13th Amendment, and India still insists on...
No, there's no insistence. You see, 13th Amendment is part of the Rajiv Gandhi Jayavardhana Pact, and now people have expanded it to 13 plus. But we can't insist on it. It's a bilateral commitment, and we can, as friends, ask you how far you've gone. We know that you have gone almost 95% of the way. There's only a question of police powers left, and there's the Sri Lankan government has a very good reason for delaying that. And I don't think we are now any great anxiety about the non-implementation of 13th Amendment.
Do you believe that the Modi-led government in India would iron out the differences with India and have a smoother functioning in the future?
We don't have any more ironing to do. It's already a smooth function. We are consulting with each other. We are working together. There are some local problems, like some cricket match can't be played, but that is only temporary. But your president came, he went to all the temples in North India, nothing happened, he was very welcome, he was received. In the oath-taking ceremony, he was present. So there's nothing to smoothen out anymore.
With the Indo-Sri Lanka relations, you have a laborious experience over the relationships with India Sri Lanka. How do you think that the Sri Lanka should handle India, vice versa? Should India be big brother of Sri Lanka, or the father of, or the equal brothers?
Well, you mean, are we twins? We are not twins. You're a different country from us. Brothers, amongst brothers, there's always an elder brother, a younger brother, no question about it. I think those areas where we can make sacrifices for Sri Lanka, we will. It will be a cooperative relationship and not a hegemonistic relationship. We are not going to push Sri Lanka around to do what it doesn't want to do.
Do you think that the Sri Lankan government is properly handling the northern the politics?
What more can they do? They've held elections. There's their own chief minister. When Rajapaksa was coming, he went out his way to invite the chief minister to come to India. He foolishly turned down the request. You see, I think I have so far nothing that I can say find fault. I would say that the Tamil community now should not, as a community, vote for any political party. I think those who think that Rajapaksa is doing good work, they should vote for him. Then the further confidence will grow. In a democracy, politicians look at who's voting for you, who's not voting for you. And so if you want Mr. Rajapaksa to deliver for the Tamils, then you do something for him also. And therefore, the best place to do it is in the election.
So do you think that the myth of a separate state is going to be a myth for TNA? And how do
we meet for a separate state?
Myth of the separate state for the TNA.
Haven't they given it all up already in an affidavit to the Supreme Court? So what is there to talk about? I think it's a dead letter.
You are also an expert in the China relations, especially the Chinese economy. We have seen a very increasing relationship with China, Sri Lanka and China after 2009. How do you see this?
We're not bothered because you consult us on that. And all the projects that you have so far given to China, you first offered it to India. So it is India's weakness that we couldn't take advantage. Take Hamantota, that you offered first to India. So we have no problems on that. I don't think we think of China as having no business in this area. Of course China has. It's an Asian country. It's our neighbor. That is India's neighbor. And we would like them to be here to the extent that the Sri Lankan feel comfortable with it. But the Sri Lankans have always now been communicating with us whenever they had any dealings with China, and expect that they would do that with China also, that whenever they have any dealings with India, they would convey it to China.
Okay. We have seen another very recent common issue with the Sri Lanka and India faces is the fishermen problem. How do you think that this should be resolved?
The only major resolution is over. Now no fishermen are in your jail. No Indian fishermen. They have been all given bail and sent out. But where to fish? Because of reckless exploitation by commercial interests, all the fish in our side is exhausted. So for a time being, we need some permit from the Sri Lankan government to allow our people to fish. You have more fish than you can use. So therefore, we need to come to an agreement for 2-3 years so that we can repopulate our area with good fish and and seafood.
So you think that this could be manageable?
Oh yeah, it will be managed. It's already halfway, more than halfway managed. It will be fully managed now.
One last question. How do you foresee the Sri Lanka-China FTA force?
That's no problem. That's an economic issue. And we have China all over India also. All Chinese companies are there. They're bidding for our infrastructure projects and so on. We don't see any reason to treat China as a hostile country. We have differences with them, and we intend to solve it the way we think is in our national interest to do so. And we are a big country like them, and so we don't feel apprehensive about them.
Finally, about the defense seminar, how do you see next in the Sri Lanka future next?
I think the blueprint put out about 2020 and 2035 was excellent, and I think your leaders who have come here are all very clear in their mind, and you can expect a very bright future for Sri Lanka.